Welcome back, everybody, to Niners Now. I'm your host, Brady Grustas, at Grustas Brady on X. You can follow me there. And your San Francisco 49ers, folks, have unfortunately dropped to 5-3 after a real letdown against the Texans. They were defeated 26-15 on Sunday. And many people have been asking, when will this 49ers team just run out of guys? And I think we might have found the answer. We're going to get into all the grades from this game today, offense, defense, and special teams. And of course, stick around until later in the show because, we've got some comments to look at. I've got some lovely comments from our lovely viewers, just like you guys. And I'll be taking a look at some of those later today. But before we begin, go ahead and subscribe down below. Your subscription really means a lot. I've been appreciating all the growth of the channel so far. We just hit 400 subscribers. I'm super, super proud. I love you guys. I really appreciate it. You have no idea how much this means to me and how much it means for the channel. So if you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe. And of course, like and comment and share. And let's get into the video. Now, first, I want to get started with the special teams grade because I think this was the best performing unit on the entire team. Generally not the best sign, right? You don't want the 49ers special teams to be the best unit in this game. I'm going to give the special teams a B grade in this one. Brian Robinson had a huge kickoff return late in the first half, that really kicked off any sort of momentum that the 49ers were going to get in this game. He brought the ball all the way out to the 50-yard line, and then, a face mask penalty right at the end of it added another 15. So that was a huge play from Brian Robinson. He is easily our best returner, although I don't know that I want him back there returning punts. But that was maybe the best kickoff return I've seen from a 49ers player in, I don't know how many years, 5, 6 years? When was the last time we saw a kickoff return that good? That should let you know how low the standards are for 49ers special teams. Thomas Morstead also had a really nice punt, pinned the Texans inside the 10-yard line. I think they started that drive at the 6. Now, unfortunately, that led to nothing considering they drove all the way down the field for a touchdown, but we'll get into that later. And I think, the 49ers special teams held their own against a top 2 unit in the NFL in the Houston Texans. The special teams renaissance, if you will, has been very clear. Brant Boyer is doing his job. I think it's clear to anyone with eyes. This unit is so much better than it was last year under Brian Schneider. So shout out to Brant Boyer. Shout out to the special teams. The guys are bought in, and they're doing great. Now, I want to move on to the offense. Too little, too late for the offense, as you can see below me right here. I'm going to give the offense a C-, and they very easily could have been a D, but I think that they did eventually start to get a little bit of momentum towards the end of the game. It was not pretty early on, right? I think it was 3 straight 3-and-outs to start the game. It might have been more, in all honesty. This is just off the top of my head. It was bad. It was really, really bad. At one point in the game, the Texans had 10 first downs, and the 49ers had 10 offensive plays. We just could not get any rhythm going early on in the game. Colton McKivitz got absolutely torched a couple times by Will Anderson. Jawan Jennings had lots of key drops in this one, although he did have an unreal catch at the 1-yard line. He missed more plays than he made, I'm afraid. George Kittle, though, absolutely fantastic touchdown catch late in the first half in between 3 Texans defenders. It was unreal. Absolute seed from Mac Jones. Kittle was able to haul it in. Christian McCaffrey was kept really quiet early on. I think he had 8 yards in the first half, the lowest of his career. He started to pick it up a bit in the second half, but by then, like I said, it was too little too late, right? The 49ers offense didn't start humming until they were down 2 scores. And with the way the defense was playing, which we will get into later, it just wasn't going to be enough to come back against this Texans team. I will say, I don't think Mac Jones was the problem in this game. He had the interception late to essentially seal it. But other than that, I thought he was playing pretty well. The offense kind of had their backs up against the wall as the game went on. And Mac was making plays, right? He was putting the ball where it needed to be. There were a couple of drops. Of course, there was the interception. But I didn't think Mac Jones was the issue today. And I think if you've got to wait for Brock Purdy another week, if you don't want him playing on that MetLife turf, which I do not, then I think it's fine to start Mac Jones, because he did fairly well against this Texans defense. Now, obviously, he was under a lot of pressure. The offensive line didn't do great, right? But I think given all the factors, right, he was playing a very good defense. I think Mac Jones played admirably. I think he played fairly well. But yeah, the offense run game was completely stifled early. Passing game couldn't, they had nothing. They were going 3 and out every single drive. It was ridiculous. It was awful. And the 49ers defense was able to keep them in it for a little bit, but they couldn't do it forever. This team's been all about bend and don't break, bend and don't break. But when you ask the defense to bend too much, they're gonna break. They just are, especially a unit as young and as inexperienced as this one. Speaking of, let's go ahead and talk about the defense now. Please, John Lynch, go get us a pass rusher. That's the mantra I've got below here, because this was, honestly, I'm going to give them an F. I'm going to. And they played well early in the game. They held the Texans to field goals on their first 2 drives, and they were able to get the very first interception of the year for the 49ers. Deommodore Lenoir picked one off at the end of the half, but it was terrible other than that. There was so much room in the run game. Even when runs were bottled up, someone would miss a tackle or miss a run fit, and whoever, whether it was Woody Marks or Nick Chubb or CJ Stroud, they would just bounce out and get 5 or 6 extra yards on top of it. It was bad. It was bad. I thought the young defensive backs were getting cooked all game long, whether it was the run game or in coverage. Renardo Green, Upton Stout, Malik Mustafa, Jair Brown, they all got cooked. None of them had good days, especially Mustafa. He had one of his worst games as a pro, in all honesty. He was not good today. But then, of course, the central issue, right, the one that I think caused all of this, is that there was zero pressure whatsoever. This Texans offensive line might be the worst one in the entire league, and the 49ers were not even able to sniff CJ Stroud. And sure, they were doing some quick passes, getting the ball out, protecting Stroud that way, but there were some deep drops too, and the 49ers just could not get any pressure whatsoever. Mykel Williams, not ready as a pass rusher. Sam Ekwonu came back down to earth against a bad offensive line. It doesn't make sense to me. The defensive tackles were dropping like flies. They were getting injured often. Like Alfred Collins, Sam Ekwonu, Jordan Elliott, all of them were hurt at different points in this game. I know Collins came back in. I'm not sure if Samo did, and I think Elliott was out for the remainder of the game. It was just bad. It was just not good at all. And it got worse as the game went on. And I get it. Listen, when you're on the field that often as a defense, you're going to get gassed. And you're going to get tired. And you're going to give up some big plays. I understand that. And I understand that it's on the offense to sort of protect the defense. But when the offense was playing well, the defense still was not able to make a play. No sacks on CJ Stroud in this one. They had the one pick, but it was kind of a halftime chuck it up, see what happens. It was not a good day from the defense. And I think this is the moment where we can officially say they've run out of dudes. They're out of guys. The fact that they have to play another game without Bryce Huff, that should be enough to go make a trade. Even if it is, like a Matthew Judon, right? A guy who is barely going to play next year. A guy who is just meant to sort of give any sort of life to this pass rush. I think you've got to do it. Because at this point, it's a disservice to Robert Saleh. It's a disservice to the development of your young players. If they have no one who can take any sort of heat off them and they are just getting focused on and keyed in on and smothered, it's going to hurt their confidence. It's going to hurt their development. And then we're losing games, right? So it hurts the present and it hurts the future. You've got to make some sort of move at the deadline. And a lot of rumors have been floating around that the Niners have been super aggressive. And so I expect them to at least try to make a move. But after seeing the film in this game, I think maybe your offers might have to go up, John Lynch. Maybe you do have to give the Jets that extra pick to go get Jermaine Johnson. Maybe you do have to give Miami that extra pick to go get Jalen Phillips, right? I think you've just got to make a move. You've got to make a move. The not desperation, but the need is really evident in this one. And I think there's winnable games coming up, right? There are winnable games coming up. You've got the Giants in Week 9, who will almost certainly not have their running back, Cam Scatterbo, man, what a brutal injury that was. And without him, he's kind of their offensive engine, right? So I think that is a winnable game. You've got to have a defense who can make something happen against that team. And I know it's at MetLife, the turf monster. You can never predict the injuries there. That's going to be brutal, I'm sure. But then after that, you've got the Rams. You need reinforcements for the Rams. This version of the 49ers is not beating the Rams. You're not going to beat him if you can't touch the quarterback, right? I mean, we saw against the Rams earlier on in this season, you had to get a little bit of pressure. There was only one sack in that game, if I remember correctly. But there has to be a little bit of pressure at least. And then you've got the Cardinals after that in Week 11. Kyler Murray, Jacoby Brissett, whoever it is, they're going to be able to operate the offense if you don't touch them. The Panthers look kind of terrible, but they've got some good players. Like, who knows? Rico Dowdle could go for 200 yards like he has been a couple of times so far this year. There are games that are winnable, though. That Panthers game, that Cardinals game, that Giants game, those are winnable games. So you got to win them. And I don't think this version of the 49ers is going to win those games. It's funny. The first time that I picked the 49ers in like 3 weeks, and they get out there and they lay a stinker, right? I think overall, it was just not good execution. They just got their butt handed to them, I think. And Kyle Shanahan said that in his post-game presser. There were no answers. Niners had no answers, especially the defense just couldn't get off the field. And I think it was humbling. Niners coming off a big emotional win on Sunday Night Football against the Falcons. The Texans coming off an embarrassing loss against Seattle in primetime as well. And they looked like the more motivated team. They looked like the team who wanted it more. They looked like the better team. And they exploited the 49ers' lack of talent and lack of execution out there. So I hope this is a wake-up call to not only the defense, but the coaching staff, the offense, to everybody. I hope the 49ers get re-energized. I hope they're able to perform better against the Giants. I hope they have another pass rusher when they do. John Lynch, get on those phones, man. Make those phone calls. Let's get something moving here, please, because this cannot be the product. This cannot be the defensive product. So we will see. What do you think of the 49ers in this one? How would you grade their performance? Let me know in the comments down below. And speaking of comments, it's time to get into our comments section. I've got 3 comments today from our lovely viewers, and I'm just going to go over a couple of my thoughts. If you would like to be featured in the video, you first just have to make a comment. Just go ahead and drop a comment down below, and if I like it or if I don't like it, and I have things that I want to say about it, and I've got some opinions I'd like to share on the podcast, then I'll absolutely feature you. I like to feature 3 people every episode, and if you want to be a part of it, just go ahead and drop a comment. And I will say, the more videos you comment on, the more likely that you are to be in the video. So if you really want to, comment a couple different things. Give me all your thoughts, right? No need to censor yourself, if you will. I will take a look at all of them. I read every comment, even the ones that aren't featured in this video. So yeah, go ahead and drop a comment right now if you want to. You can comment on my shirt, and I might talk about it on the video. You know what I mean? All right, let's get into it now. Enough waffling around. Our first comment from Pitt Black Belt. Pearsall sucks. He is fragile, weak AF. All right, man. Pearsall's availability has not been good so far in his NFL career. We know that. That's not a surprise, right? I've talked on this channel about it. I'm a little worried about Pearsall as the rest of the season goes on. But when he's healthy, that dude can play. I don't know how you watched the first 3 weeks of this season and you came away thinking that Pearsall sucks. That dude is a monster. He was balling out of his mind. I know it's been a little while, so maybe you want to go back and take a look at some of those highlights because Ricky was the offense for a little while. It was Ricky and it was McCaffrey, all right? So watch how you talk about my guy, Ricky Pearsall. I know he's having a real hard time staying healthy, but no one can question his abilities when he is healthy. Those are my thoughts on that. Next comment now from Max. I don't blame you for picking against the Niners given all the injuries. I thought we'd lose the last 3 games. Definitely think we will beat Houston though. Let's go. Australian flag emoji. First of all, shout out to Australia. I'm not sure if you're from Australia, Max, but if you are, I love our international audience. Shout out to Australia. Shout out to all the other countries. If you're from a different country and you're watching this video, if you're not from America, go ahead and drop it below in the comments. Let me know where you're listening from, where you're watching from. I would love to know. I love the support. Much appreciated. I've never been to Australia, but I would love to go one day. And yeah, on your comment, the injuries have been brutal, right? They've been unprecedented. And unfortunately, we were both wrong about the 49ers beating Houston. But no excuses, right? This is the National Football League. The Niners are still above 500 considerably. They're 2 games above 500 halfway through the year. They're still in the race for the lead in the NFC West, right? They've still play the Rams and the Seahawks, who are the other 2 teams that are fighting for that spot. It's about next man up. And sometimes that next man comes from a different football team. Cough, cough, Jermaine Johnson. Cough, cough, Trey Hendrickson, if you will. So, yeah, it's hard. It's hard because I think it's fair to pick against the 49ers. I kept expecting a game like this one, right? I kept expecting the 49ers to just eventually give in, right? I kept expecting that. And it just didn't happen over and over and over until this week. This week it finally happened. But I don't think it was all terrible, right? Like, there was some offensive success. It came too late, obviously, but the 49ers weren't shut out, right? Like, it wasn't an irredeemable performance. Kind of was from the defense, if we're being honest, but that's why we're lucky that this game happened before the trade deadline, right? There are still things that the 49ers can do to get better. There are still things that the 49ers can do to stay competitive, and there are still things that the 49ers can do to win games. Let's take a look at the schedule after the trade deadline. We obviously have week 9 Giants, then the trade deadline, and then we talked about this briefly. But after the trade deadline, it is Rams, Cardinals, Panthers, Browns, bye week 14. That'll be huge. So we've got that section of Rams, Cardinals, Panthers, Browns. I think it's very possible for the 49ers to go 3-1 in that stretch. Now, are they going to do it without sacking the quarterback? No way. There's no shot. But if they get a guy like Jermaine Johnson, or they get a capable edge rusher who makes an impact in pass rush in particular, who can really affect the quarterback, and of course they get Bryce Huff back, hopefully, then I think you could certainly win 3 of those games. Maybe 4, right? If you get lucky against the Rams or the Browns, right? Or I guess the Browns don't look great, but their defense is really good. But anyways, you could win 3 of those games. Let's say they do that. Let's say they go 3-1 in that 4-game stretch. That would put you at, that is 8-4 at the bye week. That's absolutely playoff contention. And then after the bye week, I mean, let's say even 2-2. Let's be conservative, right? Let's say the 49ers go 2-2 in their next 4 games. That puts them, 4 games after the trade deadline. That would put them at that would be 7-5, right? That is still playoff conversation, depending on what happens in that Giants game. Might be 8-5, right? But then you've got the bye week, and then after the bye, you've got the Titans, who are terrible, the Colts, who are good, but I think that's a winnable game, and the Bears, who knows what you get from the Bears on a week-to-week basis. I don't know if I buy the Bears at all. And then you've got Seattle, which could win you the division, right? Like, these are all games that are winnable. These are all games that the 49ers could be competitive in, especially this version of the 49ers, the gritty 49ers, the clutch 49ers, right? But that version of the 49ers comes when they hit the quarterback. So that's kind of my thesis of this episode. You've got to get a pass rusher. Now, we've got one more comment. I know that answer was kind of a long one, Max. But our last comment is from Eric. Trent is a lock. What are you talking about? Are you nuts? The guy's been a Pro Bowler his whole career, all pro many of those times. He is a lock, still playing at a high rate. And of course, Eric here is talking about Trent Williams' chances at the Hall of Fame. And you know what, Eric? You're right. You're right. I was being cautious with my wording in that video. I didn't want to call Trent a lock, but he clearly has the best chances at the Hall of Fame on the team by far. He's the best offensive tackle of the generation. He's very, very good. He's had 11 straight Pro Bowl seasons. Obviously, he didn't make it last year, but 3 straight first-team All-Pros. Once he was traded to the 49ers, he made first-team All-Pro 3 straight times. Also has a second-team All-Pro back in Washington. You're right. Eric, you are correct. Trent Williams is a Hall of Fame lock. Absolutely. So that is all for this episode, folks. How would you grade the 49ers performance in week 8? Do you think Trent Williams is a Hall of Fame lock? Let me know down below. And let me know if you enjoyed this episode. Leave a comment, leave a like, and let me know if there's any topics that you'd like to see me cover. Thank you all for watching, and subscribe for 49ers videos 5 days a week. I'm Brady Grustas at Grustas Brady on X. This has been Niners Now, and I'll see you tomorrow.